All right. Next, we shall jump right off into the esoteric meaning of Lucifer, according to Alice Bailey and Lucius Trust. And so, there are comments on the World Wide Web claiming that Lucius Trust was once called Lucifer Trust. Such was never the case. However, for a brief period of 2 or 3 years in early 1920s, when Alice and Foster Bailey were beginning to publish their books published under her name, they named their flagship publishing company Lucifer Publishing Company. By 1925, the name was changed to Lucius Publishing Company and has remained so ever since. Both, both Lucifer and Lucius came from the same word root lucis, being the Latin generative case meaning of light. The Bailey's reasons for choosing the original name are not known to us, but we can only surmise that they, like the great teacher H.P. Blavatsky, for whom they had enormous respect, sought to elicit a deeper understanding of the sacrifice made by Lucifer. Alice and Foster Bailey were serious students and teachers of theosophy, a spiritual tradition which views Lucifer as one of the solar angels, those advanced beings who theosophy says descended, thus to fall from Venus to our planet eons ago to bring the principle of mind to what was then animal man. In a theosophical perspective, the descent of these solar angels was not a fall into sin or disgrace, but rather an act of great sacrifice, as is suggested in the name Lucifer, which means light bearer. Now let's get to the breakdown. First of all, I don't believe it's that big of a deal whether they called it Lucius Trust or Lucifer Trust or Satan Trust or whoever they trusted in. All right? But the fact of the matter is they went from Lucius to Lucifer or however they did it. But eventually, it was called Lucifer Publishing Company. And it says by 1925, the name was changed to Lucius Publishing Company. But both Lucifer and Lucius come from the same root word lucis, being the Latin genitive case meaning of light. And so they wanted to name themselves, or not name themselves, but name their publishing company after Lucifer, who they thought made a great sacrifice by falling away from God, from walking away from God, who underneath whom all protection is guaranteed as long as you're down with him. But Lucifer said, nah, forget that. I don't need you. And in fact, I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to rebel against you. And then not only did Lucifer fall, but some of the angels fell as well. A third of the angels fell out of heaven, according to the scriptures. And they say that Lucifer, according to tradition, spiritual tradition, which views Lucifer as one of the solar angels, those advanced beings who theosophy says descended from Venus to our planet eons ago to bring the principle of mind to what then was animal man. Meaning, Lucifer did man a favor. The serpent in the garden did man a favor by telling him to do the opposite of what God told him not to do. God said, don't take of the tree. The serpent says, yeah, sure, go ahead. In fact, the reason God doesn't want you to do that is because he knows that your eyes will be open and you will become like him. And what the serpent really meant was that you can make up your mind for yourself what the difference of good and evil is. That was the whole purpose of the tree. It was a tree of good and evil that makes it so people can now decide for themselves. And once they took of the tree, then they were aware that they could do these things for themselves. But they were also aware that they lost the harmony that they had with God because God gave them orders of what to do and what not to do. They recognized that immediately. And so they're also saying here that they brought the principle of mind to man, all right, to what was then animal man. Because man, for them, in theosophy, see, they believe in evolution. So they looked at man as being more like an animal, an untrained animal, though God had already given man the ability to think for himself. Man already had free will. Man wasn't struggling under God. But you let these people tell it, man didn't know anything. In fact, he was animal man. That means he needed to be trained. He needed to be trained. But God had already trained man up in the ways in which he should go. And he even told man the ways in which he shouldn't go. And so Lucifer and these solar angels fell, and they said that they didn't fall into sin or disgrace, but it was rather an act of great sacrifice that Lucifer turned his back on God. And so Lucifer brings the light. It's like Prometheus, who stole the fire from the gods and gave it to man. All right? So just to understand, these people view Lucifer as being a hero to humanity. God isn't the hero, Lucifer is. Yahweh isn't the hero, Lucifer is. Yahweh isn't the Savior, Jesus Christ isn't our Savior, Lucifer is. Because Lucifer brought light and or understanding or illumination to man. The same illumination you see held by the goddess Columbia or by the Statue of Liberty, the goddess of liberty, holds the light. She's been illuminated, and she brings that same liberation to the people of the world, not just the United States. By the way, that statue was given to America by French Freemasons. So there's a lot to delve into here, to dig into. But just remember, because we're going to get off into the externalization of the hierarchy, and there'll be a lot of talk about light, and there'll be talk about Lucifer and other beings and spirit beings that will be bringing the light to us all. They're not going to bring me anything. They can give that light to somebody else. I don't need it. I already know the way. The way has been lit by Jesus Christ. It isn't lit by Lucifer. In fact, I don't want to be lit by Lucifer, using current slang terms for what's dope or hype or good or, happening. I don't need Lucifer's happening. I don't need Lucifer's lit, his light. I just don't. Don't want it. Don't need it. But anyway, this was a fairly short video, and I kept it under 10 minutes. Hooray for me. And we'll move on to the actual book, Externalization of the Hierarchy, and the Ouroboros after this part right here.